Hey guys, so me and Phil are back again after what was an epic, well, a killer time away in Wales on the Triumph Adventure experience. And really, you're probably wondering right now why on earth there are two beautiful bonnies behind us and you've clicked on a title for a Tiger video. Well, we will come on to that shortly. However, this is all about the Tiger 900 because Phil and I, well, this is actually your idea, wasn't it, really? Following the adventure experience, we pretty much, we were blown away by the Tiger, but obviously we had it for a day and we just wanted more, and Phil came up with the epic idea,
basically the idea was to have a couple of Tigers and put them through their paces off-road as if you, normal person, would have a Tiger and use it for an adventure ride. Every weekend, camping, off-road miles, real lanes.
When Phil said this, I instantly thought this is sick. We have to do this. Pitched it to Triumph. They were like, hell yeah, all on board. We got insured for off-road use. We got given like 45-litre tail packs to put all our stuff in for luggage. And really, the vision we had has just become a reality. And really, this whole video is going to be all about, like you said, we're just two normal people.
Relatively normal.
Relatively normal, yeah. Living with a Tiger 900 for a few days, being on the road, waking up in the morning, hitting the terrain, and just living with it and experiencing it and getting a feel for it, and for us to be able to be here and give you our impressions.
Especially from our perspective, used to these twins as well.
Yeah, so. And that's why these guys are here, really. To just be able to let you know, we're coming from twins, and we're jumping, we jumped straight onto a triple, a 900. So it's quite a significant difference. But yeah, stay tuned for the video and we will fill you all in. So one of the first things I think is really important to talk about, because that's what our first initial impression was of the Tiger 900, was how capable it was off-road, because that's all we did with it. We were just putting it through its paces in Wales on an off-road course, if anything. So really, let's get the ball rolling with off-road.
So I think the main thing is we obviously did the adventure experience, which is completely different to real life because you've got this big open space, you can get the tail out, you can kind of do maneuvers. But in a real life situation, we wanted to see what the Tiger was like, and I was really impressed by a couple of things. One is that triple has so much torque even though it's a triple, and it's got loads of low end grunt, which I was surprised about. I thought I'd have to whiz it up the whole time. That, and the other thing is just the centre of gravity and manoeuvrability, and it being really confidence inspiring off-road.
Yeah, like for me it's the exact same. I went into the whole experience on the adventure experience with the Triumph, just thinking about my Scrambler 1200. Obviously, I couldn't wait to use a bike that essentially wasn't mine and be able to put it through its paces and have loads of fun on it.
What did you do to the bike on the day, Matt?
I don't know, but
you broke both brakes.
Yeah, possibly broke both brakes on the Scrambler 1200, which thus put me in the saddle of a Tiger 900.
It's all me today,
but
mate.
I think, I went in just buzzing about the Scrambler 1200. I didn't really think about the Tiger 900. It's not that it's never intrigued me, but I just wasn't overly fussed about it. And it's suddenly, it's a perfect example of you just don't really know until you try something. And we were both, just Phil and I, every time we had a break, because it was 33-degree heat, we were just constantly just talking about the Tiger 900 and its capability. And it's just incredibly confidence inspiring. I think they're the two words we're going to use so much in this video.
So there were two things, one of the things that I really noticed was the suspension. So there's one bit I remember us going up some, when we were near Salisbury, there was one bit we were going up some ascent over like a load of tree roots, and I've done that on a Husky before, like a small dirt bike, and it didn't feel that different, to be honest. Like, it had the power, like the manoeuvrability, the suspension ate everything up. Really easy to ride. I didn't feel like I was riding a big bike at any time. You only really notice it when you're going really slowly. But other than that.
Yeah, like in terms of the Scrambler 1200 and the weight comparison between this and the Tiger 900 and just the Rally Pro and the weight distribution of how it's designed, I also feel that the Tiger 900, it just does feel quite light, like you say. And the fact that this Scrambler 1200 has a 21-inch front wheel, just like the Tiger 900, the Tiger just feels way more nimble.
It's a geometry somehow.
Yeah, the steering is just really light. Like when we were doing the really slow maneuvers, doing like through the logs, I could really feel it on the Tiger. And just like Phil was saying about like just outside Salisbury when we were going through all the tree roots, yeah, it was quite steep, quite thick. The terrain wasn't exactly intimidating, but definitely when you're on an adventure bike, like, you know, we are both normal people, and I felt very comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, just being able to pull back the throttle and just go for it.
A few rutted sections as well. It's like really easy to kind of bounce across the rut, not like bounce in the rut and not feel like you're having to drag the bike around at any point, which is
yeah, definitely.
really good.
Like the suspension, like you say, I think the suspension on it is absolutely lovely. Like just factory stock, like done nothing to it. I think Triumph do a great job with many bikes like that. A bit like, you know, Ernie Vigil just taking Scrambler 1200 through Baja, just factory.
Mine was set up quite firm, which I quite liked actually.
You did say that, didn't you? Yeah.
And I quite liked it off-road. Like it wasn't super saggy, which was really nice. So the rebound was set up really nicely. I quite like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the bikes from the Adventure Day were set up like that because they're off-road use. Like even the pegs, well not the pegs, sorry, the brake lever and gear lever, they were adjusted just down a notch because they're catering for you standing up. So these were in a sort of a road standard at a factory setup, and I still didn't really feel any fatigue.
No, standing position is great on the Tiger 900 as well because of the shape of the tank.
That.
So it's obviously a big bike, but the shape of the tank, you're stood up and it feels really comfortable. Really good standing position. You can see everything in front of you. Like you said, not a huge amount of fatigue. Yeah, really.
The tank shape I loved, and
low seat.
I got a real soft spot for it just from the Adventure Day because we were in 33-degree heat. It was melting, and we were just, you know, we were all just dripping. And to reduce fatigue of standing up, I just leaned my whole body weight forward with just like, you know, my thighs just leaning into the tank, and the ergonomics, the shape were lovely. And I found us doing that quite a bit on the trip.
Yeah, low seat as well, which is important off-road because sometimes like you'll need to put a foot down and dab or whatever, and to do that when the seat's really high, a lot of adventure bikes are pretty high off the ground, or at least the seat is, and it can feel quite uncomfortable or unwieldy. A lot of people ask, oh, can I ride that bike? 'Cause I'm quite short, like neither of us are massively tall, and you feel really comfortable on it at all times. You can actually lower the seat height, so all you do is if it's a high seat, you have it like that, and you drop it across like that, and now you've got a shorter seat height, which is great for if you're off-road because it means you can get a foot down and feel safe.
And at the moment you're sitting flat-footed, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm flat-footed on that, which is incredible for such a big bike.
You know, something I noticed that I thought was actually really impressive with the design of the Tiger 900 is the indicator placement. Obviously going back through the years, the predecessor to the 900, you know, Tiger 800 for example, and adventure bikes before that, in the adventure bike community, I think the indicators were something that people spoke of because they were mounted down low. You know, these bikes, they're going to be taken off the pavement, and in the event of an off, you know, you drop it, you can share the indicators. So I think it's really cool that Triumph genuinely listened to consumers, and to combat this, you know, on this Tiger 900, they've mounted them way higher up. And not only that, but the actual out of factory, you know, OEM indicators, I think they're really smart. I genuinely wouldn't even change them.
Let's go grab a beer. Got about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour maybe, some gravel tracks, and then we're going to grab a cheeky pub lunch at a little village pub, so we'll check in later.
What about on the road?
Yeah, on the road. I mean, for me, our meet spot with Phil for us to hook up for the weekend, I had to like burn a lot of tarmac for about 4 hours, and I did a lot of A roads, motorways, stuff that I've done so many times on the Scrambler. However, that's just one area where you just realise the difference between something like this, regardless of engine and design. It's just basically the whole, you know, being in an adventure bike, the windshield, the protection, the ergonomics, and the seat, everything about the bike. I was able to just gun it on the. You can almost hit triple figures without even realising, just because it's just, again, it's a triple, so you know it winds really high. The power band in the mid range. I found, coming back to the steering and the light steering and whatnot, obviously. Fast forward past our weekend, I actually, because we had it for nearly a week before we took it back to Triumph, and I actually had just a little bit of fun with it, going shopping. I even took my better half, Danny. I took her to work and back, did a bit of commuting. It made me realise what it's like to live in the city as well. I was able to filter really nicely with someone on the back. Again, the steering, it does just feel really nimble. It's
the only 21-inch wheel, front wheel bike that I've ridden on road that feels like it's really planted, which is strange almost in a way, because you forget about it.
The bar height as well when you're standing up was nice.
Yeah.
For the stretch of your arms. Obviously, I think we're both roughly 5'10".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that I noticed on the road, obviously the manoeuvrability. It's not like lacking in power. So like both of us are used to riding 1200 twins, and I've ridden like bigger triples before, and I thought, okay, a 900, and I've ridden the 800, and this 900 does not lack power. It doesn't lack punch. If you need to do an overtake, or if you, like you say, need to filter around someone, or you're going down a country road or whatever,
I couldn't agree more.
It doesn't feel like you're topping out.
I think, man, power is a awesome subject to just come on to be honest, because off the back of what Phil said, you know, having Danny as a pillion, going on motorways, overtaking, there was honestly, I didn't feel any lack of power. I felt the power band was nice all the way through, and it was the one thing that made me think, being on a 1200, but you have to remember, a triple and a twin, the power ratio is so different, and I think the firing order, which, you know, Triumph have designed with this, the 132, is what makes it really grunty. So like, for us both riding off-road, you know, we didn't really leave second gear. You know, you'd be in third gear maybe sometimes, but really it was first and second, and I found the gearing
the gearing's really good. I was super surprised by that, because like off-road I've ridden twins or singles, never a triple, and so just being able to sit in second or third and not have to like rev the thing up, because that's where you assume the power band is. There's actually a load of grunt, and it just keeps going over like any obstacle. Neither of us like stalled it at any time. Like, it's really well tuned engine.
It was a really, second gear I found just to be my favourite gear. I was just toddling along like in that gear just for so much of it, and you can just twist the throttle and you could go. Even when you hit like inclines. If you go back to my video of going in the peaks, the lakes and the dales last year, at the end of my video I come off my Scrambler 1200, I'm going down, you know, it's quite a steep decline, the gradient, and I fall over, lack of momentum, lack of skill if anything, and just looking back at that now, we tackled stuff, one on the adventure experience, worse than that, you know, us at Salisbury, like some of the stuff that we did, and I for one know full well that, you know, the Tiger 900 would have been able to smash through it, because it has. I think everything we put it through, through this whole weekend. I mean,
pros and cons. What are the pros and cons for you?
What pros and cons?
If you were to buy one, or would you buy one?
Would I buy one? I mean, I would definitely buy one. Would you? Question is, I would have one in the stable to go alongside the Scram, but would you swap the twin for it?
Yeah, so I think they're really different bikes. If I had one, I'd always pick the Tiger up if I was going off road, just because it's such a even
that's
if
what's
I
really
had one of those
about it, isn't it?
Even if I had a 1200 Scrambler, I think I'd still pick the Tiger up for an off-road trip, or like a longer blast.
Me too. Just been on the road on this with like Danny and stuff on the back. We did like a 2,000 mile trip earlier this year, all luggage on here, and I do love how the Scrambler can do that. You know, it can be like a typical bike that's just lovely and designed for going to custom cafe meets and stuff, and next minute it's an adventure machine. But deep down, you know, you can do an adventure on any bike at the end of the day. People cross the world on postie bikes or 100cc stuff, but it's a question of how comfortable you want to do it. And I think the Tiger, the pros for me would definitely be comfort, the tech on it as well.
Yeah.
Like, let's come on to tech.
Yeah, it has. I think out of the box, it has a big spec, doesn't it? So all the rider modes, heated grips, heated seats, like wireless, Bluetooth, heads-up display, so you can get your text messages on the screen.
Yeah.
GoPro connectivity. Like we didn't do that, but you can see the GoPro in the screen when you're filming, which is pretty cool.
The rider modes are lovely. You know, I think I spent most of my time in Off-Road Pro. We both did, and on the road, probably Sport was my most common.
Off-Road Pro on the road's quite fun as well. I mean, I switched traction control off on this on the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, Off-Road Pro mode is really good, and it sounds intimidating, but actually the bike is so well balanced, and
could not agree more.
The grip's there, so you're not feeling like, sometimes when you switch traction control off on a big bike, and the ground's a bit rough, you start getting a bit like sketchy. But it didn't feel like that.
Yeah, that's what's mental. Like, you look at it and you think, oh, it's going to be like this tank of an adventure bike. It seems really daunting, but you just get on it and it just does it. It just, you know, I don't think you even really need a great deal of off-road skill, and you can still have a really good time on it. You just feel badass on it. And if anything, the colorways of the bikes, following, you know, No Time to Die and Triumph's awesome partnership for the film, the Tig 900s were like, I feel like, just ultimate bomb bikes.
Yeah. Especially
the colorway that we got given from Triumph, the black and white.
Yeah.
For me, it really grew on me, but your favourite was...
Yeah, I like the green with the white frame. Although the black bike ended up with a white clay-coloured frame by the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd
really did.
Maybe I don't know. But I really like the white frame, sets it off really nicely. But all the colourways are cool. But yeah, really, really cool bikes. I think if I were to have one, the only things I'd change, or maybe I'd get some more stable hand guards, like some solid ones with a frame in them. Wing mirrors, maybe, like if I was taking off-road a bit more, they're quite big wing mirrors, so if you drop it or whatever, then they'd be in the way. Other than that, put some good off-road tyres on, and away you go, I reckon.
Yeah, I think mine would be the same. Like, overall, I don't think I would change much. Maybe, like, just for the sake of my partner, we both like being on a bench style seat. So if there's any way that we could accommodate a seat where it's quite flat, but then again, maybe I'm just being stupid because it's going to change the ergonometry of everything and how you sit on it. You can change the seat height though, can't you, which is good. Yeah, you can. Again, I'm only thinking of the missus here. I'm not even thinking of myself. But for me, if I just was on it, I genuinely, I don't think I would change anything other than maybe the hand guards, like you said, because they're more brush guards, just like plastic out of the factory, something with a tougher spine. Maybe an end can, of course, give it a bit more throaty. Yeah. So I think
it sounds nice though. It doesn't sound whizzy, which is good. But like you say, that throatiness would come through a bit more if you put like an arrow on or whatever.
One thing I've not even said yet, you know, obviously both Phil and I, we're not normally massive fans of triples, and that engine itself, it just feels like a twin. Yeah. I think that's why we both became so like attached to it, and that's why we're also standing here in front of our own twins, because I know for myself, owning this and being a member of the Triumph Scrambler 1200 Facebook group, a lot of people do jump from either a Tiger to the Scrambler or vice versa, and I can see why people do it. But I do think you know, this is very capable, but from a Rally Pro perspective of the new Tiger, it does excite me for what Triumph are going to do for the 1200.
Yeah, I think if they pull off the same trick they pulled off with the 900 on the 1200, which it looks like they're going to, it looks like that's going to be a really cool bike. So looking forward to
I think it's weight, if anything.
Go on that one, yeah.
What weight will be the big
weight and firing order, which they've already said they're going to do that firing order. So
yeah, and I think a lot of people are loving it, and I totally get it. I really do. Yeah, like lasting comments, should we say? What would you say about it?
The triple
recommendations to people, and
go ride one. You'll be surprised.
Yeah. Test ride one, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
My summary is it's like a triple that rides off-road like a twin and gives you tons of confidence. I'm probably going to buy an ADV bike in the next year or so, and it's definitely
I'm on the fence
list
as well with the exact same thing. I think Phil and I, we both said the exact same thing, which is a good way to close this video, if anything. We called the Tiger 900 like the Land Rover Defender of motorcycles.
It feels like that.
And I think it's a really good shout, to be honest. Definitely the Land Rover Defender of
motorcycles. The Land Rover Defender of motorcycles, yeah.
100%. Yeah, check it out. And thanks for watching. By all means, like, subscribe, comment. If you want to know anything about it, you know, hit me up. Same with Phil. Phil's on Instagram. I'll pop it up on the screen, myself included. And again, thanks Triumph for the opportunity. Like, this has been killer.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Take it easy.
That's so much fun.
It is, isn't it?
That's a really good section for everything we learned on that day.
Yeah, 100%. All comes running back, doesn't it? It really resonates with the terrain that is on offer in Wales.